I decided to go to LA today because I wanted to see the homeless problem for myself. Now I have heard rumors about LA actually being like having a huge homeless problem, but when I went in there, I was surprised that these many people were wrong. And no, I don't mean wrong as in there's no homeless problem. No, the way they described it to me, it compared it was nothing compared to what I saw today. They told me there were some homeless in LA, especially in the downtown area. But when I went into the downtown area by myself today, I was surprised and I was utterly shocked that this many homeless people fill the downtown LA area. Um, the reason why I want to go to LA is because I had a free time on my schedule. I wanted to go, something that I've been wanting to do for a while now because I've been hearing a lot about this in LA. However, I would say it again. I'm still shocked at the fact that there was so much. The homeless problem was a lot worse than what people had described, in social media outlets and news outlets. Because look right here you see tents, literally blocking streets. People are living in the streets in the downtown area. I honestly couldn't believe it. I it was it, to me it was an utter disappointment because what happens the thing is that the streets become crowded. I actually had a hard time driving through the streets of downtown LA because it was incredibly crowded with a lot of people, including homeless. Now, am I blaming the homeless for the circumstances? No, I'm not. But this is an issue because California is one of the richest. Actually, no, it's the richest out of all the states. We generate the most revenue. We generate the most income nationwide. But for some reason, LA, which is one of the richest cities in the state, has this problem. I'm utterly disgusted. I'm utterly ashamed of being a Californian because these people should not be living like this in one of the richest cities in the state. And the thing is that whenever I hear celebrities talking about how this is wrong, how homelessness is wrong, and you're sure it is wrong, but this is literally going on 2 miles away from your home, from where they live. So why can't you do something about this? Why aren't you doing anything about this? It's not that you can't, because they can. Celebrities are literally millionaires. But if they're so rich and then they're urging us, the working individual, to help people like this that are in this situation, why can't they do it? Why can't they? For people like us, it'll be harder to help people like the homeless in downtown LA. It'll be a lot harder. It really is. $5 won't help them much. I literally had to stop by, park my car to give some money to at least some of these individuals. It's that bad. But why can't this be done? Why can't we help these individuals? Why is it that celebrities always talk about doing the right thing, but they never do it? Why is it every time when you watch the Grammys or the Oscars, they always talk about how we need to help each other, we need to help each other out, we need to fight homelessness, we need to fight poverty. Here it is, 2 miles away from your home, and yet you have done nothing about it. It's ridiculous. Again, look at all these tents, streets, literally blocked by tents. People cannot afford to live in the city. They can't. You want to know why though? Because we're taxed to death. We literally have the strongest economy. We really do. We're number five. Literally, like I think we're like around number five. Our economy is a lot stronger and it's a lot bigger than the UK, the United Kingdom. Yeah, we generate more money and revenue every year compared to other countries. Right now, I think we're five or six. The top. I think we're all I know is that we're still in the top 10. Basically, out of all the countries in the world, California alone is in the top 10 in the world's strongest economies. But for some reason, we have this. We have homelessness in the streets of LA. If California is so rich, how does this happen? I mean, Democrats have a super majority in the state. Look, if you look here, California State Assembly, generated of 80 representatives, 61 of them are Democrats, 19 are Republican, basically meaning they can pass any law that they want and not have any opposition or not have to worry about of it being shot down by a Republican. Why? Because they have a super majority. If you look at the state Senate, out of 40, 28 are Democrat. There's 2 vacant seats right now, and there's 10 Republicans. Why aren't they doing anything about this? They can do things. They can pass laws that will solve this issue. But apparently, they can't. Look again. All this is simply a block. I try to cover more. I actually try to record more on the streets, but it was so hard for me to maneuver around these streets. I was actually more concerned for their safety of not hitting anyone because the streets are incredibly crowded. You can clearly see people walking on the streets because the sidewalks are clearly blocked by tents. How is this allowed to happen? How is California, who preaches about social justice, helping out poverty, helping out the poor, and yet they allow this to happen? I consider that very hypocritical of them. I really do. Again, this is just an entire block, maybe even two. I didn't really even keep track, but I didn't go far. I really didn't. I had to go down the same street twice so I can get one side of the street and get the other side. It's that bad. I could have covered more, but I couldn't. Like I said, there was so many people, and not to mention so much traffic, and not to mention people walking on the streets because it was too dangerous for me to drive during that shit because I didn't want to hit anyone. But this is Hollywood Boulevard, literally like 2 miles away from downtown LA. And look, you don't see any tents. All you see is tourists, people walking, seemingly oblivious to what's going on 2 miles south of LA. Look, shiny streets, the Walk of Fame, you have Foot Locker, you have nice buildings, but 2 miles, south, what do you see? You see this. You really see this. A lot of homelessness, streets, rundown buildings, tents blocking the sidewalks. But you don't see that in LA in television. They don't show you that part. They don't show you this part either. They don't show you this part. They show you the best parts. They show you LA. They show you the best parts, the rich side. That's what they show you. And again, and honestly, like I actually recorded more of this, but again, most of it's just traffic. Most of it's just So I had to cut some stuff off because it was so much traffic. So I look at this, and I'll tell you right now, on my way home, even while filming this, even on my way home, I still couldn't get these pictures out of my head. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. California is literally on the top 10 world economies, and yet we are allowing homelessness of this degree to happen. But what about the Democrats? What about our Democratic governor? What about our Democratic supermajority in both state assembly and the Senate, and the state Senate? What are they doing? Apparently to them, this is not an issue. Apparently, because if they did care enough, they would have solved this by now. But what does Gavin Newsom think is more important than solving the homeless issue? So what does our governor, Gavin Newsom, find more important than solving, helping these people find, get out of the streets and provide aid to them? You know what he considered more important? Going to El Salvador. He went to El Salvador in April. The homelessness in LA was still really bad. But again, we're looking at homelessness today. You're talking about June 17th. But even then, even 2 months ago, it was still pretty bad. And what does Gavin Newsom do? He wants to go to El Salvador because he wants to find out why migrants are coming to the U.S. Well, I'm sorry, Gavin, but in any textbook, it'll tell you why people move from city to city, why they move from state to state, why they move from country to country. Why? Because the most common response and the most common reason is for economic purposes. People want to move to another country or another region for economic purposes because they think that they'll be more economically stable in that region compared to the one they're living in now. Like I said, Gavin, he wants to go to El Salvador so that he can figure out why are people coming into the U.S. Dude, worry about your state. You don't need to travel to El Salvador, waste our taxpayer money that could be used to solve this problem to find out why people in El Salvador are wanting to come to the U.S. Dude, if you went to China, if you went to Japan, if you went to, let's say, Ecuador or Brazil, and you asked them, why do you want to migrate? Why do you migrate from area to area? They will tell you the most common reason why, and I'll tell you right now from the top of my head, the most common ones: economic purposes, escaping from political prosecution, such as Venezuela. People who criticize Venezuela's government usually are prosecuted by the government. That's another reason. Not to mention escaping from gangs, from cartels, mostly safety reasons. That's why they migrate. That's why they move from country to country or region to region because those three things are the most common. But Gavin Newsom couldn't have Googled that. He couldn't have saved the taxpayer money. No, but instead, no. He can't afford. We cannot afford to help those homeless people. But the governor can waste our taxpayer money to go to El Salvador to find out why people want to move to the U.S. or even then why people migrate from country to country. It's a simple Google question, Gavin. Like really, you can just Google it up. Why do people migrate Why do people migrate? Why do people move? And they'll tell you why. You didn't have to go to El Salvador for this, but no, apparently that's more important than solving the homeless crisis in LA. Not to mention San Francisco. San Francisco, if you go to San Francisco, literally the streets are covered in feces. Talking about human waste, human feces. Okay, they're covered in human feces in San Francisco. Nancy Pelosi, that's Nancy Pelosi's district. What is she doing? But you want to know what's more important to Maxine Waters or Nancy Pelosi, which are literally the representatives of these regions? You want to know what's more important? Impeaching Trump. Russia collusion. That's their priority, because they're so proud of California and they're literally urging about how California, all the states need to be like California. I'm sorry, but when you see homelessness of this degree, when you see homelessness to this degree, and you say, well, the states should try to copy us. I'm sorry, but no. I do not want any other state to copy the homelessness of LA. I do not want them to copy the homeless rate of California. Because look, California is literally one of the top 10 economies in the world. But for some reason, we have the highest. I'm talking about, we're number one in homelessness in all the 50 states. How is it that our state is so rich, generates so much money, but for some reason, we have the highest homeless rate? Why? How is this possible? California, literally, as of this article, it has 136,826 homeless in the state. This article's from, let me look what's up. Look, number 10 is South Dakota. They literally have 1,000 homeless people in South Dakota. Dude, how is this going on? This is from 2014. This is literally an article from 5 years ago. California is still number one in homelessness. We have so much homeless in the state. We have so much poverty in our state, and for some reason, we're the richest. We are the richest state. We generate the most money out of all the 50 states. We are literally topping economies from whole countries. One state alone, and for some reason, we have the poorest population. Not to mention, we are taxed to death as well. The more money you generate, the more money gets taken out. I mean, we have a tax rate that ranges from 1% to I think like 13 or 12%. Meaning that the more you make, the more that gets taken out of your paycheck. And I know this from experience. When I was a manager at my job, I literally made like a paycheck. I usually saw like $825 per check. And that's after taxes. Honestly, that's after taxes. I was getting paid $14 an hour. And I saw around $825 per check. I decided to move down because I didn't like the job. I didn't like being a manager at that job where I worked at. I went down to $12.75. And again, I'm working same hours. I work 38 hours as a manager. As a regular crew, I got paid $12.75. And as a regular crew working the same amount of hours, guess how much was my paycheck? Almost $8.50. $8.50. That's a huge margin. That's a lot. So how is it that I'm making less? I have more money, but when I make more, you punish me for it? You take more money away from my paycheck, even though I make more, even though I work more, even though I take more responsibilities. What incentivizes me to make more money, even though even though you're gonna take most of it? Really, it's ridiculous. California, like, we have the highest tax rate. Literally, if you're basically what I'm saying is that if you're incredibly rich, stay away from California. Because if you are a rich person and you live in California, you're looking at a 12% tax rate for your income. That's insane. You're literally telling people you are not allowed to make more money, or else we're going to take more money and we're not going to spend it on things that you want because we are not good at spending money. Okay? Seriously. Look, and not to mention with gas. Gas is expensive, and not to mention after Proposition 6, with the whole gas tax, increasing the gas tax, gas prices have gone up. Even this article's from 2018. This was before the midterm elections of last year. I think this was before the midterm elections in 2018. And like I said, it's ridiculous. Gas was already expensive before even the new gas tax was implemented. You're looking at $4 a gallon now in most stations, especially in Southern California. It's ridiculous. Look, and if you look at the amount of taxes you pay per gallon, you're looking at 73.82 cents. You're looking at almost a quarter you're paying in taxes. For every dollar you put in a gallon, you're literally paying 75 cents. Almost a quarter in taxes. You have to pay like 2% for the underground storage tank fee, 3.62 cents for the average local sales taxes, 8.1 cents for the sales tax, 11.7 cents variable tax, state gas tax, 18.4 cents for the federal tax, and 30 cents for the gas tax, the state one, the state gas tax. It's ridiculous. So and they wonder, it's like, oh, well, how is California is so rich and it has this level of homelessness in one city, in one city. And where I live in Santa Ana, the homeless rate is not as bad as LA. LA is one of the richest cities in the whole state. They generate so much revenue from the movie industry, and yet for some reason they have that amount of homeless people on the streets in just one block, maybe even 2 blocks. But that's just literally a small portion of downtown LA. I wish I could have gotten more so I can show you the bigger problem here. But look, even with just one or maybe even 2 blocks that I covered, that's a lot of homeless. And yet we are the richest state. We literally generate the most money, and yet we get taxed from our income. We literally have the highest income tax. We have the highest gas tax. We literally pay a lot of money for literally just to pay for a gallon of gas. It's ridiculous. Really, we're literally getting taxed to death here, and yet for some reason, California has a Democrat supermajority in the state assembly. They have a supermajority in the state senate. They have a Democratic governor. So why aren't they doing anything about this? I can give you 2 reasons why. One, it could be corruption from the party. Like I said, elite Democrats, they don't know what it's like to work like us. They don't know what it's like to live from paycheck to paycheck. No. That is why whenever I see people like Nancy Pelosi or Maxine Waters, or I see people like Jerry Brown or Gavin Newsom, and they say, we're just like you. No, you're not. You're literally a millionaire, Nancy. You have a mansion. You literally have a wall surrounding your mansion, and yet you have the nerve to say that walls are immoral? And then when celebrities say, oh, we need to watch out, we need to look out for our homeless, we need to help them out. I'm sorry, celebrities, okay? I'm sorry, but if you're that type of celebrity that likes to go on about and talk about we need to help the homeless, well, you have a bunch of homeless literally 2 miles south of where you live, but you're not doing anything about it. That is why I can't take these people seriously anymore. When I see celebrities rant about, injustices and politicians talking about, oh, we're just like you. No, you're not. No, you're not. Literally, what have you done? What have you done? And not to mention the homelessness of LA this is not recent. It's been getting worse. Ever since I think 2013, this has been going on. I literally found articles talking about how the homelessness of LA, especially downtown LA. It's been going on since 2013. I found older articles talking about how this is an issue, talking about 6 years ago, and they're still facing the same issue. And yet, for some reason, they're not doing anything about this. So, like I said, one reason could be corruption. The elites, they just say what they want so they can get elected, and then once they get elected, they don't care. They'll just wait until they're up for re-election, and then they'll say the same thing again, get re-elected, and not do anything about it. Second, could be simply party incompetence, mostly, or even they could be Democratic policies in general. The ones that they've pushed forward, it could be Democrat policies in general. Think about this. Again, they have a supermajority. How many times, I can guarantee you that most of the bills that are passed from California are mostly from liberals. They're mostly from liberals. Tax this, tax that, Medicare, Medi-Cal, Medicaid. We're literally paying a bunch of taxes. Most of these are liberal policies. LA is a liberal city. And yet they have this much homelessness? That's ridiculous. It's embarrassing to say the least. And it pisses me off whenever someone says, oh, well, other states need to be like California. I'm sorry, no. Because if California represents homelessness, represents literally crowded streets where you can't even drive because literally tents are blocking the sidewalks because people are literally living on the streets because they cannot afford to live in a state like this. When your cities are covered in feces, San Francisco, when your cities like Oakland are ramping up in crime, yeah, I don't think I want any other state to be like California. In fact, I think every other state should not even try to be like California. I think Texas should be Texas. I think Nevada should stay as Nevada. I don't see why any other state would want to be like California. Gavin Newsom is a governor who doesn't seem to care. He thinks that the most important thing to solve. He thinks that something that is more important than solving the homeless problem is going to El Salvador. That's what he considers more important. But no. Meanwhile, we'll just continue to be taxed to death. It's ridiculous. This amount of homeless people, I was appalled. I was appalled. I could not, I was literally disgusted at the fact that my state, the one that I was born in, the one where I've lived my entire life, allows atrocities like this to happen. And it's all under the leadership of Democrats. So what's the solution? I would say vote for other parties that are not Democrats. I'm not saying you have to support, I'm not saying you have to support Republicans or, any of that, but vote for any party that is not a Democrat. Or even then, if you want to vote Democrat, do not vote for career politicians. Career politicians are individuals that have been in the political spectrum for years, even decades, such as Nancy Pelosi, such as Maxine Waters. If you want to vote Democrat, by all means, choose a Democrat that is a newcomer. That is a newcomer. Those are individuals are probably the most genuine. But do not continue to vote for career politicians, even if they're Republicans too. Because again, I tell you right now, even as a center-right person, I'll admit that some career politicians are not exclusive to just the left. There's also some on the right. I do hate some conservative politicians who are career politicians, and I hate them because most of the time they're corrupt. So stop voting for career politicians. Stop voting and start voting for individuals who are newcomers to the party, who are actually individuals who are not part of the Democratic Party. Because again, they have a supermajority, and they're not doing anything about this. Let me know what you thought about the video. I'm sorry I sound a little bit more angry than usual in my other videos, but again, looking at this footage, looking at this in person, it's very infuriating. It really is. I'm still really pissed off. And trust me, on my way home, I was incredibly furious. I couldn't get these images out of my head. Share this with everyone. Share this with everyone you know, because seriously, LA boasts about all being, being incredibly diverse, incredibly, there's so many cultures. And yeah, that's a good thing. Sure, that's a good thing. But I don't consider homelessness to this degree a good thing. I really don't. I really don't. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notifications button hit the notifications button as well, the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you never miss an upload. Share this on Facebook. Share this on Twitter. Share this on any social media platform. I urge you to do it. People need to see that California is not as great of a state as people make it out to be. Seriously, we are literally paying the most taxes, and yet we have this much poverty. We are the richest out of all the states, and yet we have this much homelessness. It's ridiculous and it's embarrassing. It really is. I'll see if I can upload another article later today. Probably I won't because it's already late. But if you like this video, hit the like button. It really helps a lot. Share it with your friends. I really urge you to, because this is a very serious matter. Until next time, you guys.